This is a storage box system I've designed that's useful for a variety of purposes. Storing and carrying power tools on and off site, or storing anything. It doesn't have to be woodworking related. So I've called it the JB OmniBox. Now it's a prototype, and I thought it would be interesting to show the process of designing and making it, as well as the finished product. Full details of how to build it will be available on my website, and it links to 2 jigs that I recently created that convert large sheets of MDF and plywood. This is aimed at those who have small workshops. So the thing about my storage box design is it's compact, stackable and portable, and it's fairly quick and easy to make from 6mm plywood or MDF, especially if you build several at once. And it can look more expensive than it is with a coat of paint. It can of course be customized in dimensions to suit your needs. Now I've called it the JB OmniBox, and not to be confused with my Omni jig for cutting joints in wood. But I was going to call it the JB System Box, but I see that Bosch already do one. Now all those fantastic storage containers and sustainers are made of plastic, and to be honest, a lovely thing to own. In fact, I bought a few mini sustainers myself, mainly out of curiosity. In fact, you won't believe this, but it's absolutely true. I made this prototype box initially to house my little Makita cordless router, and I didn't use a tape measure but just rested pieces of MDF against the router, allowing a little breathing space for it. And I just cut the wood, but by coincidence it's almost the same size as the familiar Festool mini sustainer, which intrigued me in its design. My design really evolved from some very basic makeshift boxes I built a few years ago to house some of my routers. So I just wanted to improve the design of these boxes that were held together with hot melt glue. So I think in the back of my mind I always wanted to design a proper system. I explored developing my compact wooden toolbox, which is designed mainly for hand tools and also available on my website. But the big question is, and designing involves asking a lot of questions, how do you best store a power tool in the way you are most likely to use it? Let's take this terrific little cordless router. Well, it's called a trimmer actually, but that vastly underrates its true potential. It came in a large sustainer box with all sorts of accessories and batteries and a charger. So I decided that I needed a separate, more compact box that accommodates just the router, its straight fence, a spare battery, the spanner, and a few router bits. Now with all my cordless power tools I've decided to keep the chargers separate, and I have a lot of them. As to the construction, the panels are easily cut to size, and the assembly carefully glued together. I use Titebond original glue, but any PVA will do. I use suction rather than clamps, and that's quite skillful to do, to align and make sure all the surfaces are square and flush. I then cut some softwood strips into square sectioned reinforcing strips that I glued on afterwards. Now here's a tip. When gluing the box together, you apply a PVA or similar glue to the edges, but leave spaces to add hot melt blobs. The hot melt glue acts as a clamp. But as I say, my box went together just using Titebond, but it's more skillful to align all those pieces. Now a feature of my compact wooden toolbox is the flush handle, and again I have incorporated this method of carrying the case, but it's also open and vulnerable to debris and dust getting in, so a thin piece of latex rubber is hot melt glued underneath to seal the box. And the catch, in fact I forgot to mention the most important design feature, because the pivoting of the lid is achieved by 2 wood screws, but actually securing the lid is achieved by using a wood spring featuring a tiny saw cut and making it slightly oversized so that the wood grips by friction. It's rather basic, but it works. Well, I'd say the JB OmniBox sits quite well on top of these plastic sustainers. I hope you agree. And if you like my videos, please do the usual: like, subscribe and hit the notifications bell. I hope this is useful to you. Thanks for watching.